So for the podcast, what it's doing is just actual honest coaching. It's just like the real thing, right? And typically when I do coaching, prior to the podcast, I don't use Zoom. I'm on my headset, right? And so I talk to people, and
Okay.
and so we can talk about, you lead the call, like anything you want. And really what I'll do, and so is we'll like, don't even worry about being a podcast because this may or may not be used. We just got to start somewhere, right?
Oh, I
So thank you for
totally
doing it.
concur.
I really appreciate it. It's really awesome. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. And
Nope.
you can see the cool studio like that I
Yep.
set up, right? This is the condo, right? That is happening, right? It's happening. And so yeah, so in coaching, what I typically do is well, I would say it's all confidential, but this is going to be a podcast, so it wouldn't be exactly that. And I can help you, like, tell me like where you're at, and then where you want to go. And what I'll do is I'll then ask questions to you about things, and I'll try to gain insight. And overall, and I'll tell you, like, also for the program and everything that I've developed, which has been amazing. The stuff that I put together, really. Here's what my group, like my branding company, told me to do. They said, put together a 5-day challenge, and people are going to use 15 minutes a day. You can only have 15 minutes of their day, and in 5 days, so you have 15-minute periods. You have to prove to them what it is that they want, why they can't get what they want. It's almost like, The Secret a long time ago. It's like
Yeah.
why that isn't working for them, and do it with science and spirituality. And I'm like, oh, that's nothing like a big task, right? Like, so for the challenge, so like I have people ask me, and I'm telling you this for a reason. I try to have people uncover like what their secret is. Like, like we have this secret goal in our life that sometimes we tell people and sometimes we don't. And this doesn't have to be your secret goal, but for that challenge, I'm asking people what that is, and then I'm asking them what they're worried about, and then I'm telling them why it's not happening. And so, but generally coaching is like, where are you and where you want to be, and then from there I try to give you steps. I have ask you what options are to get there, and what are obstacles that have been getting in your way, what have you done, and we carve those out, and it typically, moves people forward really fast. It just really, and so like, make it real, like make this real, because it may or may not air. But the thing is, I want to really, you guys have given back to me in a lot of ways just by being there, and I say that with sincerity. Yeah, and I want to give back, so let me give back. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can dive in whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so tell me a little bit about anything. Like, tell me where you're at, what it is that you want to accomplish.
And this could be your banner for the podcast. The clock the clock is ticking. I just turned 60, and there are so many things that I have thought I would have accomplished by now. I've written 7 books, not published. I've written 7 screenplays, not sold. I'm trapped in a shit job because I'm 60 and can't get hired anywhere else. So you're sitting there going, well, some people take a year off to dedicate it to their. I can't afford to take a year off. If I sold all my stocks, I'd have the money to do nothing but write and focus on getting published. And that would be an investment, but then I've got nothing. My lovely spouse, is trying her hardest, but she hasn't brought in any income in a year. She's been living, paying her side of the bills off of savings. And that's very, very frustrating for her, because she doesn't feel productive. Um, and I guess I'm just, whereas life is good, my relationships are great, my lousy boss got fired, all these things are positive. We just came back from our honeymoon in Mexico, and it was fabulous. I fell in love with my wife all over again.
Oh, that's amazing.
Um, but there's this gnawing, always there in the back. I used to, my screensaver on my laptop used to say, you should be writing. Every time, it's like, dude, stop playing a game. You should be writing. Stop that movie. You should be writing. This is how you're going to get where you want to go. But I've reached the point where, I talked about, I'm not good at grammar. I wasn't an English major. So sometimes my writing has got a lot of grammatical problems, colon versus semicolon, these kind of things. And I'm like, well, I could take a class at the community college just up the street. And then I'm like, when?
Is that really the thing that's holding you back though? Because or is like isn't an editor do that? I mean,
No.
an editor doesn't do that.
No, and that's the quickest way to show that you're not ready to be published. They don't want to have to work like that.
Okay.
They want a finished, perfect product that can go to print.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so now so how long have you been trying to do the books? How long have you started to write these? Like a long ago?
20 years.
Say it again?
20 years.
Oh, 20 years. And what have you done? What are the steps that you've done in order to get published? So you've written these books and you have a lot. It feels to me like when I'm looking at you and I'm seeing you, it feels to me like you feel like this is your life purpose. And it hasn't been like your potential is not tapped because like you said, you're into this job that you don't like. And like, it feels to me like there's this passion that is just like burning in you that you can't figure out why.
I love storytelling. I absolutely love it. It's these scenarios, these stories, all these kind of things. Whether it's romance, science fiction, I just love creating characters and give it,
Yeah.
I just love it.
Now, what have you published? Okay, so have you published anything like articles, small, short stories? Tell me what you have published and tell me what they've been about. Yeah.
Articles back when I was in space and missile defense. There's a space and missile defense journal, and I published a couple articles.
Okay.
That was 15 years ago.
And what were those about?
Space and missile defense.
Oh, okay. So they were more work oriented.
Yeah, they were tech
Okay.
stuff.
Okay. And so have you done any other kind of articles, like submitted any articles to magazines or anything? Have you done anything leading up to this?
No. It's just been writing novels and writing screenplays.
Okay.
Trying to get better and better and honing my craft, with each revision.
Okay. So like list some of the things that you've done. You've done like the things that you have done in order to, this thing that you want is to get published. And the thing that you have done is write the novels. And I'm assuming they're about different things. They're all about the same topic. They're about
different things.
Okay.
And that
like
turned out to be a negative. Publishers would rather have that person who only knows and focuses on that one genre, the Daniel Steele, kind of writing romances, the Clyde Cussler writing thrillers.
Okay.
They don't want, the what's her name who did the Interview with a Vampire, after doing erotica, jumping genres. They don't.
Now, what's telling you this? Did people actually tell you this?
Yeah.
When did they tell you that? How did you learn that?
Meetings, conferences, webinars.
Okay. Okay.
So,
So you have, what's your favorite one? What do you know the most about? What's your if you could pick one or you can't pick one?
that's been a problem too. So I did a pitch fest, virtual pitch fest with Hollywood, and I've got, they don't tell you what they want. They're like, well, tell me what you've got. And I've got 5, 6 projects. And like, well, which one's your favorite? Well, they all are. It's not what they want to hear. They want to hear this, the life and times of John Smith. And this is why it's the greatest story. And I was the one born to write it.
Okay.
That's what they want to hear. They want to hear that your entire life is going to be dedicated to this one project.
What do you think, like, because you have, what's your background? Your background is, I know a little bit about tell me about your background. Like, what do you know? What do you really, what's in your gut? Like if there's one thing burning, like for me, my thing is to do this, is to help people. At one point in my life was just chaos, right? And I didn't even know if peace existed. And because my life was chaos, I wanted peace. Well, I achieved that. Then I went to the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. And I'm achieving all these different goals and I'm figuring out how to do it. But what I have to do is I do have to hone down the clarity of what I want. And I have to want that more than I want anything else. We've talked about this. I have to want that one thing more than anything. And so what is that one burn inside? Like if you like if you like there's this eulogy test that we can do, right? At your eulogy, like somebody's reading this, like what is it that you're known for when you're like, 40 years older, okay? What are you known for? Yeah.
Persistence. I don't quit.
Okay. Okay. And so now keep going. What are you known for? Like when literally you're not about like, what are they saying that you've done in your life? Like look back, see, like you can even close your eyes and I want you to take a minute, take 2 or 3 minutes of silence. It's okay. Really feel like that you're somehow this energetic body at your funeral listening to this. Really.
He was the most energetic, persistent man I ever met.
What did he accomplish? Like what did he go? What did he do? What was his goals and how did he reach them?
I was told I'd never go to college. I was the first in my family to get a master's degree.
That's awesome.
My first flight instructor had a bet that he could get me to quit and would take me up and flip me around until I puked and then call it a day. And I didn't quit, and I got my wings as a Marine Corps helicopter pilot.
Oh my God, congratulations. That's awesome. That's hardcore.
I had a boss that was trying to get me fired, and then when that failed, he thought he'd make life so difficult that I'd quit. He wound up getting fired.
Oh, well, so this is going to happen. You know this is going to happen.
I do, and that's part of the frustration. I'm 60.
Yeah, but no, we're not talking about that. You know this is going to happen in your chest, in your gut. Where do you know it? Is it in your gut, your belly, or
my books are good. My head, my heart, and my gut, all three. My books are good. My screenplays are good. And it's so frustrating when you walk into a bookstore and you take something off the shelf and you just start. I'm like, oh my God, mine is so much better than this.
Where do you feel it most? Where do you feel it? Where do you feel this most? Your head, your heart, or your gut?
I can't say right now.
Yeah, go for it. You got to. Like, close your eyes and feel it. Where you're going to do this, okay? You got your wings, okay? You persevered this boss.
My gut. It's my gut.
Okay. I like it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about neuroscience. Neuroscience, there are neurons in our head, in our heart, in our gut. And I wanted you to say that answer. Okay, the ones that are survival are in our gut. That's a survival instinct. You have to do it. And the brain is wired for survival. So if it's a gut instinct that you're going to get it, the brain is going to do it because I have reverse engineered this, okay? Using neuroscience, I really have. I've reverse engineered this. When you want something in your gut, your brain feels you're either going to do it or you're going to die. Like the brain actually feels that when it's wired in the gut, okay? And that's the strongest. And I like to tell people at New Year's Eve, that if you're only looking at your resolution in your head, intellectual, that's the least strong. Because when something comes up that's survival, that will always overtake. And so your brain is wired from the bottom up. There are neurons in our gut, there's neurons in our heart, and neurons in our head. And if you say it's wired in your gut, everything that I've ever wanted in my gut, have I gotten? I have. Have you?
I believe what you were saying there about the gut, and I agree with you. How then does the mind process to make it happen?
Okay, so what happens is the brain knows it's going to happen because the brain feels, you don't know this, but the brain doesn't know what's true. Okay, when you're watching a movie, for instance, and there is a tarantula crawling up somebody's arm, in a way, your brain can feel that's happening to you. Okay, and when there's like the jaws, the dun, you feel it. And not necessarily that movie, okay, but you feel what's happening. You can allow yourself to get into it and embody that, and you start to feel it. So the brain doesn't know what's true. It puts all of the input together, and it ties it together very loosely and comes up with a conclusion. Okay, that's very true. That's how neuroscience. That's what the brain does. But when you feel something in your gut, it wants it, and when it feels like it has to get this to survive, it's going to wire to survive. So it just as if you'd lose your hearing. Everything else would be more heightened because it has to be to make you to survive. It's the same thing. So the brain is going to rewire. And now you almost got your boss off your plate. Okay, because now it's good, right? That's a concern off your plate. Your completely happily married. You've got your honeymoon check done, right? And you have a beautiful house and everything. So now there's only this one thing left. So now we can focus on this one thing and try to take the obstacles out of the way. So in order to get this done, let's make a list of options, things that we can do. So if you haven't been published, like tell me some ways that people get published. Are there different ways people get published? Like, do you need to know an editor? Is it about a network to get to know the editor? You already have an editor. Talk to me about these things and tell me what you've done. Lay out what you've done and lay out what you haven't done, if you could.
Obviously, it's best to meet an agent or publisher in person, and that usually means a writer's conference.
Okay.
Where you have to spend a lot of money for a 5-minute pitch and hope that you connect with the right person and they request pages. That's long, slow battle. The other is by sending query letters. And this is like your resume doesn't get you a job, your resume gets you an interview. And so your query letter gets you a request for pages. And it's a very long, and now I have not gotten requests for pages, which tells me my query letter just is part of my downfall of being out of the military is my writing there was all very fact-based. But it's not exciting. It's not sexy. So when I write a query letter, well, tell me what your book's about, Jeff. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not a woman who makes that emotional, oh, it's this woman's struggle while she had cancer. And suddenly the woman listening is like, oh my God, I feel for this person. Jeff, what's your book about? Oh my God, we have Spartans in space and they're battling to save their homeworld. And you're like, and? That's the kind of feedback I get.
Okay. And so you need somebody. So what it sounds to me like, if I heard you correctly, you need somebody to read this and give you a spin on it to make it to have it a sexy gloss, like the icing on the cake. Like look at a birthday cake. A birthday cake is okay, but the icing is a little bit better. Even if you don't like the icing, you need it. You see what I'm saying? Right. And then the candle and the sparkles, all that junk we need. So now, okay, so that sounds like one thing that we could use, like to have somebody read it and even give you hints on putting a sexy girl. I don't know. Maybe there is a sexy girl in there. I don't know. But, read it and give you a spin on it. Now, do you know anybody who could do that?
That costs money.
Okay, but you have friends that could do that? Who do you know?
Friends don't have the time.
Friends don't have the time.
We've had so many friends that want to read my book. When some do, very few wind up doing, oh, I ran out of time. Oh, I haven't gotten to it. And they're a friend. You can't.
Okay.
So you have to pay someone to sit down with your product and go through it. And I have. I've paid people in the past to edit and some of my stuff. And they script doctors, as they're called, and they've done amazing work. Helped me make it a better product. To find somebody that is great at writing queries, it's an investment, and I need to do it, but I can't afford it right now.
Okay, I have a bunch of people. I work with one company. I work with a company is basically all editors. Okay, and they're for online stuff, but they actually came from the publishing industry. And I can open up and ask them. I can put a query out to ask them how they would do that. Now, I can.
Sorry, the big difference is it fiction or nonfiction? You write nonfiction, and that publishers love that because they know exactly where to put it on the bookshelf in Barnes and Noble.
Right.
They know exactly. They know you have your credentials. Here's the outline of the book you're writing. They're already ginning it up. This is going to make this much money, and it's going to be this many copies. That's a simple math problem for them. But like somebody like Clive Cussler novels, if you saw the movie Sahara with Matthew McConaughey, is it adventure? Is it a thriller? Is it just a mystery? For years, it was where do we put his novels? And you'd go to different bookstores, and they would be in different sections.
So what do you think is getting in your way? Do we need another opinion? Is your opinion too strong? Or do we need another opinion to be humbled, to give this book more of a different, what do we need? Do we need somebody to really read it? And what's necessary to get over that hump?
A fresh perspective.
Okay.
I'm too close to it. I've read it too many times. I
Okay.
mean, I've read, it's the classic. You turn in your first 20 pages, and then 2 seconds after you hit send, you see a typo on page one. That's a classic joke.
Yeah. Well, there's
It,
got to be software to go through typos.
it, your standard Word document reader doesn't know the difference between your and your,
Yeah.
so it won't
There's this
correct
There's a lot of
those
programs out there
things.
though. Like both of my kids can't spell at all because they're neurodiverse, and so they use something called Grammarly. You probably heard of
Yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah,
But there are other programs like that. But
yeah.
so
That
now you
that
need
would help.
a fresh perspective is one thing you said, okay.
Yeah.
And what's the thing that we said also, like we need to focus on one topic. You said I need to
One
focus people.
specific, yeah, one product,
Okay, and
one.
so if you had to do that, if they're telling you to do that, what would your one thing be? Just pick one that you if you have to do it and they're saying you have to walk through that small door, what would it be? What would you want what do you want to be known for in your eulogy? You did la la la.
Yeah.
Like if honest. Take a
Well,
minute. Yeah.
and it's you can write books or screenplays that are topical. You can write them that they are passion projects. I mean, Steven Spielberg just redid West Side Story. Nobody asked him to do that. Nobody wanted to see that. It was a passion project. He wanted to do it, and he's too big for the studio to say no. That kind of thing. I have those, like, I have a simple little zombie horror movie. It's most likely to get made. It's cheap, it's fun. You can do so much with it. On the flip side, I have a sequel to Pride and Prejudice. Well, now we're talking a period piece with costumes and coaches and horses. And, I mean, that's an expensive freaking thing. Would I like to see that one? God, yes, I'd like
Now
to
you're
be the.
talking movies though. You're talking movies, not book.
Right.
Yeah?
Well, the books, you know, same thing. The books are Pride and Prejudice sequel was a book before it was a screenplay.
So what are you willing to do? What are you willing to settle for to to get through the door? Or would you like to? Here's another way you might be able to do it. You could write small articles about these that recap them and publish them like a small little story and publish it in a magazine just to actually get the feelers out on what people like and what people are going to pick up and what people aren't. Even a lot of these online Huffing Posts and things like that, like not necessarily Huffing Post, but there are a lot of online story oriented places just to see what people almost like do a litmus test to see what people like. Maybe like a 2-page story and submit and see how people take to any specific one. If you're unable to choose, maybe you write a little story based, on one of these that's exciting and see which one gets picked up. Maybe
Possible.
2 or 3 of those. Like you write 2 or 3 of those. You could write one and send it out and then write a different one. Don't send them all together. If they're telling you to just do one, maybe even send them under different pen names so that and you could see who likes what. And in that idea, you could do a list. It would be productive to make a list of different places online that could be published.
Okay.
And now I have another thing. Like if you're, a lot of people offer a lot of free help, like online. So a lot of coaches are out there and there's a lot of, they have a lot of communities, online communities. What have you gone in some of these like editor or writing communities, like to see and throw out an idea? Do people
And
help you in there
Uh,
or meetups or something?
I've done the meetups. I used to be the director of the Parker Writers Group.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
we used to meet every month. I don't want this to sound condescending.
Uh-huh.
I quickly outgrew my audience. I'm writing at this level and they're at this level, and even trying to discuss, I'm trying to explain to them how the process works or how to ferment ideas and clarify them on paper, and they're like, I don't understand what you're saying.
But that maybe you're just in the wrong one. Meaning, like that's a date you don't need to go on for a second date. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you want to
It's
find the
just-
mate that is working for you. So just maybe you could find a different one. There's so many
Right.
resources out there. Like there's like for coaches, there's a lot of resources, and I understand what you're saying. There's life coaching, there's different executive coaching. For me, there's different levels of people's knowledge that you want to get in at that level where you feel like you fit in, right? It's almost like a date. Like it's really hard to find. You conquered that. That is actually, in my opinion, one of the hardest things to conquer, period, is to find a mate, right?
Especially at this age. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So if you conquered that, it's like this online community was not the right match, but it doesn't mean you give up on that.
No, I think that's a good point. I really do. I think writers groups don't cost anything.
Yeah, they're free.
And they're around. I have the time, or I'll make the time.
It might be fun, actually.
Yeah, I think it's time. I think you're right. I think I need to get back and be around writers and talk about writing.
Yeah, and if you're in those groups, it might, those groups are about giving and getting, right? If you're going to have almost like an accountability partner or something, right? You could find an accountability partner in there, and they could give you that fresh perspective on a weekly basis. Or however often, you see what I'm saying, when you're getting them, but it's almost like you have that accountability partner, and you could find somebody that you click with in there. Yeah. And then they give you that fresh perspective, and that could be really, really great. Yeah.
No, that's a good point.
Let me ask you a question. There's something that I do that I want to bring this up. So we have that that gives you that fresh perspective, right? And it gets you out there and doing that. And if you had to pick one, you could write little articles and send them out to different magazines. I don't care if it's Reader's Digest. I just want you to get picked up. I want your name to get out there. You know why? Because neuroscience shows that if you get picked up by anybody, I don't care if it's Reader's Digest, which actually I like because it's kind of funny. Okay, but what it does is it gives you a dopamine hit. It gives you that okay, so every day you wake up, you're like, I got one. I'm like, I took a little baby step forward, right? So I don't care how small step forward. If you could condense those down into even like 1 or 2 paragraphs, that might help you learn how to do that sexy sell, right? You want to do a sexy sell, like a paragraph or 2, and then lead them on. And then you could even say, hey, this is going to be a weekly thing. People would come back and see the rest of this, But here's a question I have for you. There's something called in coaching, we all have derailers. And wow, like with what's happening now, like we've had 2 years of COVID, people now are dying of the vaccine. I mean, I've read on Twitter, like a lot of people have heart symptoms that used to be healthy athletes. It's crazy. And now we have the war. I mean, there's so many things that are going on, and we have the inflation, right? I myself am upset with the inflation extremely when my M&Ms are now $14 and they used to be $9 for a bag. Okay. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Like I have now.
It hits home. It hits home.
It hits home and I don't buy bacon, right? I just don't buy bacon because it's $17 a pack. I remember when it was $7.99 and I thought it was a lot. Now it's outrageous. And so I'm like, okay, so we're just not going to have that. Right. And so like my brain is like checking through. So the stress is everywhere. Everywhere we turn, the stress is. And it's good that you have a beautiful wife that's supportive and you're like, that's a beautiful thing for you and your job is smooth. So, but I want to ask you to do an inventory right now. Like if I asked you, there's something called a derailer. When stress hits you, let's say you watch the news too much being in the military, maybe that stresses you out, maybe it doesn't. But what is a derailer for you? Like what are different things that derail you from your mission, from this, like kind of get you down and out and feeling unworthy? Or I think we all have a sense of unworthiness in our life. I want you to kind of understand, I can even send you a list of derailers. And sometimes we're smartest person in the room. That's a derailer. Sometimes, right? And we always have to, but when you look at a list, sometimes we're looking at it and we're thinking, oh, I do that. Like, yeah,
please send that to me.
Okay. Because when we have that list and you can be honest, like say with a person in this writing group that you might join online, when you're honest with that person, you don't even know them. Your whole goal is to help them and they help you. You can be honest to them. And that's a really good place because there's where the miracles happen. When you have that place of stillness, like that happens when you look at that, like maybe smartest person in the room. This is just one that I can remember. It's not what I'm saying that it's you, but when you have that in your face and you choose that could be getting in the way, that is a derailer for you, right? Then it's obvious to us that's preventing us. We almost have two commitments. One, to be the smartest person in the room. This is just an example. And one, to get the book published. Well, if we're the smartest person in the room, I mean, they're competing commitments. Do you understand where I'm going? And so when we look at that, if you can understand, it gives us a moment of silence. And I'm not saying in some meditative way. It just is a pause that we're like, we realize that we're fucking ourselves. And that we're fucking screwed. Like, for real. And when you realize that if I'm smartest person in the room and I want to get this book published, and the two don't go together, because in order to get it published, I need to understand these other people. I need to understand their opinion. I need to do what they say. And it's fucking humbling. But when we do that, like, we sit, and I personally almost get like not a tear, but I get my weakness there. And there's that moment of fuck. And when somebody else, like I will send you this derailer list. When somebody else you guys could both do it. What's a derailer for you and what's a derailer for the other person? And then that person can go, I can see that, because this is one of the behaviors that I'm already witnessing of you. And this is a behavior. And then you could say to the other person, I'm witnessing this in you. And that might be getting in the way. When you understand those competing commitments, like you have two goals, one to be the smartest person and one to get the book published. I'm not saying you're the smartest person. I'm just saying this is the only one of these derailers on this list I can recognize, or I remember, but there are a lot of them. Okay. But when we have those, in fact, it doesn't matter what our goal is, to make $1 million. It doesn't matter what it is. And then at the same time, we feel worthless and not worthy of the money. And so that's the same thing.
Success, right?
What's that?
Fear of success? Is that what we're used to failure? We're comfortable with failure?
It's deeper than that, though, because I myself would always have blamed my parents for making me feel worthless. But it isn't my parents. It's how I decided to see the world. And then when I had a husband who treated me that way, I could totally get on that and be the victim. And then I was like, yeah, no more. That's just fucking me. And you see that moment there when I was like, yeah. And I still get into that. I still get into that mindset that I'm worthless, and how can I make $1 million? How can I do that? But you know what? Wherever I am, wherever I'm living, it doesn't matter. I go, these people around me are no better than me, and they're making that money. You see what I'm saying? Okay.
That's my point earlier.
Yeah, okay, they're doing it. And so I am worthy. But it is like this, when you're rewiring the brain, which is what I do, like that's like my whole niche here. That rewiring, okay, has to happen in the gut. We talked about that. Like, I know that I'm worthy. I know that I should be able to do that. I'm as smart as those people, and there's no reason why I shouldn't have it. So then I have to like literally rewire my brain. Like, and I use this phrase that you might like. It's fuck that. It's like, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not worthy. And it doesn't matter if you're the smartest person in the room or you're not worthy. It doesn't matter what your derailer is. But one of mine is, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve. And when I get that I don't deserve, it gets in my way, because what it's like putting a colored glasses on, and it stops all forward movement.
Yes.
The forward movement can be humbling. It should be humbling, because really, really, Jeff, listen, if this is your purpose, and I don't know if you believe in God. Do you believe in God? Okay. If you believe
in a higher power.
A higher power. Okay. Let's just say a higher power wants you to achieve that. They know that you're going to need to overcome an obstacle in order to get it. It's not going to just be handed. If you want to get that, the obstacle then is almost to be humbled a little bit, or maybe quite a lot. Like that feeling where you feel like you're screwed, where you have these two competing commitments. What I want to give you an opportunity, like, what is a derailer for you? What do you think a derailer for you is?
Oh, there's several, and anger management, frustration, being the smartest person in the room. I mean, I like intelligent comedies. The people I work with like Adam Sandler movies. That really sums up
Yeah.
my work environment. They're watching the news and here's Ukraine, and I'm trying to explain. Well, Putin's a crazy man. No, he's not crazy. He may be unstable, but he isn't crazy. And I'm trying to explain, and I watch their eyes glaze over.
Articulation. Yeah. So you're
Yeah,
not,
no,
so there's a no connection with them, right?
no, none.
But wait, watch
Um,
that. Wait, look at that. Let's look at that for just a second.
sure.
Let's look at that. When they're glazed over, if you're going to write a book that they got to be into, these are the people who, this is your audience, that like potentially these are the people going to buy it. Okay. Cause you want a big audience, and there are a lot of people like that. Okay. Like period. Okay. And so whoever your audience is, we have to be able to build that bridge from you to them.
Yeah. And
It,
that's a great point. I see myself as trying to educate,
yeah.
and they don't want that. They don't want to be educated.
But
You
you can
know,
do it in a different way.
yeah.
You can do it
I,
in a different way. So look for a mentor. I don't know what side of the political thing you're on, but like, or anything, like who does that? You know who's really good at that? Your wife.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She knows how to build those bridges because she does sales.
Yeah.
Okay. She watch underneath, because what she's doing is she's not making people feel bad. But if you build that bridge, then see, that's one step that's necessary in order to get, then you have, what we have to do is we have to get them motivated to listen to you. If you're telling a captive story, make sure that if it really is captivating, I need you to prove to yourself that they will listen.
Yeah.
If they will listen, then people will listen to the book. Then you get like a perspective on the book, and it might be, do you see what's happening there?
Yeah.
How does this feel right now?
I'm listening. I'm hearing. I'm taking it in. Um, in
I
my mind, I'm already playing scenarios at work of how this could come about.
I want to
Um,
say something that's going to be very out of the blue. I
Go
want to
ahead.
say how much I love you, that you're really showing up, and like we're having this is a real, this is a big deal, this conversation.
When
It's
when I
real.
paid when I paid actual paid money for feedback on my books or my scripts, and I get the printed copy back, and I'm reading, and well, that's wrong. Well, no. Well, they don't get it. Oh, hell no. And I'd throw it down. The next day, I'd pick it up, read the exact same notes, and I'd go, okay, I see what they mean there. And I'd put it down again. And after a week, I'd go, that kind of makes sense. I need to revisit that in my story. So it takes me time to process. I don't want to just say criticism because that's not exactly it, but it's a bigger take in this new way of looking at something, process it, understand it, then apply it.
Yeah, and you know
Those,
what? When I'm talking to you, I feel like I honestly feel a lot of love going back and forth, because I'm really listening and showing up, and you're really listening and showing up. And I think you can tell, like, there's this complete acceptance. By the way, you are not abnormal here. Like, everybody has stuff that they can't, that trouble, like, that they can't quite bridge that gap. We all have these, I don't know, I want to call them like secret little things that we want to do, but we haven't been able to do them. And we are in our own way because we have these competing commitments, right? But
competing commitments, that's life's biggest.
yeah, I want it, I don't want it. I want it, I like it, I don't like it. And you have to really just commit. And when you commit, and I mean, I know you're committed, but when you commit, though, it means being humbled, and it means being like that ball of clay that you have to like see it in a different light. You have to change.
Yeah.
You have to change.
Yes.
Um, this is awesome. This is awesome. So there is like a shift in you right there, because I noticed your energy is different. How do you feel right now?
I feel good. I feel. I mean, we're not just talking. Well, Jeff, you have to get better at time management.
No,
If
no,
you
no.
want to, sell your book. You need to set aside time. We're not talking about that.
No.
We're talking about the core,
Yeah.
what's in here, and how I'm processing this. Yeah, there are multiple ways to succeed. The key is, again, gut head connection here. Um,
Well, the head is going to figure out the how to. The
yeah,
heart is going to feel stuff. So your gut wants to get it done. Your gut wants to get it done. And your gut is stronger than your head.
yeah,
Your heart is stronger than your head. So it goes bottom up, okay? So your
yeah.
gut wants to get it done, and your gut wants to get it done. So let's look at it this way. Let's say back in caveman days, we're starving. We need food. We're going to get that done. Somehow
And,
we're going to
my,
get that done.
and my mate is pregnant again. I wish I knew what caused it.
But we're going to get that done. You see what I'm saying? We are going to get the food in the door. Okay. And it doesn't matter, like, if you're going to look stupid hanging from a tree to capture a who knows what, you're going to get it done. And so it doesn't matter if to me, I mean, it does matter to me. It's very humbling, a lot of the stuff that I have done, because I don't know how to do some of this stuff. And it's very humbling at this age, right? I'm 54. And it's humbling for me to not know how to do this and actually get my goal accomplished. But I get it. I hear it. I listen. I go, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I heard what they said. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try. And at least my brain, this is what the brain is, how the brain's going to look at that. The brain knows I'm moving forward. The brain goes, okay, I gave up because my plan, what I was doing, is not fucking working. Right? So, okay, I hit the wall. It's not fucking working. So now what? I got to look for ideas. And so these articles are one, like these little tiny articles to try to get it set. Even bridge the gap between your friends at work. Try to bridge that gap. Because the essence there is potentially the essence that would sell. It's invisible, but like when a flower comes up, there's a fragrance to some flowers in the spring. It's spring, right? And so there's a fragrance, and you're looking for the fragrance. I want you to look to the depth of that, not the subtle, not the gross thing. The book is good. Okay, the one guy who wrote that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I don't know if you've ever learned a little bit about him. He did a lot of work on how to title that book. A lot of work. He put he vet out different things on the internet, like, right, Google searches. He posted it, how many people hit him, how many people searched that, right? He did a lot, months and months and months to actually title that book. And he had to go with what the people wanted, not what he wanted. And
Right.
he had to just go with that. And guess what? Now he's multimillionaire. Okay, but it worked. And so, like, when we get these ideas from other people, you have to feel them in your heart and take whatever it is and then leave whatever you don't want to do. But what you're doing isn't working. So we need to abandon that plan and do some new things.
Yeah, but that's kind of the issue. It hadn't worked, so I kind of stopped. And I'm in a place where I've got to determine, how am I going to go forward towards this goal? Do I keep doing what I tried before? But again, we pay someone to help make the product better. Do we reach out to these to magazine?
What
I
do
don't
you
want to
think?
say I need
What do
a
you
new
honestly?
plan. I need a better plan.
What do you honestly think is in the way of getting it done? It's not having somebody read it. It's the competing commitments.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And so what is the biggest competing commitment? You could write these things down, all the different things. So how you do that is you make a list of what you're doing and what you're not doing, okay, to get it
Right.
done. And then the next thing, here's how you get the competing commitments. You write about everything that you're afraid about, everything you worry about. Because when you tie the worries to the things that you're not doing, they are justifiable. That's your competing commitment. You write, I'm doing this, I'm not doing this in order to move this forward. We all have those. And then I want you to write a list of what you're worried about every day, like what you're worried about. When you think about this, what you're worried about. And those worries are going to tie, their fears, they're going to tie to what you're not doing, and they make what you're not doing look justified. Any normal human being would not do X if they were worried about Y.
Right.
Okay? Now you
I get
lean.
that.
Yeah. Now, okay, so that's okay. And so when you look at those things, you're going to see a predominant category of the things that you worry about. And that's where it's getting real. That's where the shit hits the fan, where you look like you're really fucked. Like you are fucking yourself. Like, I mean, I get it because I have done it. I do it regularly. And it's a pretty humbling place. But when you get to that competing commitment, now you have to look at that. And you know who's looking at that? Your gut.
Okay.
Your gut is looking at, because it's a stillness inside. There's like this, what am I going to do about that? Like you have to then decide. It's not for me to decide. And you know what it's going to come down to? It's going to come down to I do what I did before or I do something different.
Are we talking back? I get that. Would I keep doing what I've been doing or try something new? I totally embrace that.
But you're going to have your fear, and you know you have to walk through that.
So are we talking, but before that, were we talking priorities? There's a classic. You have your list of priorities.
You're not talking priorities. Because if you said in the very beginning of this conversation, your gut is your priority.
Okay.
It's what you're wired. I believe that you feel, and I believe this is true, okay, that this is your life purpose.
Yeah,
I believe that
I'm known for.
this is what your fucking life purpose is. Like all the other shit, you don't even care that's at your eulogy, do you? No one even cares that you blah, 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 got wings and were a helicopter. No, I mean, it doesn't matter. I think it could matter about your wife. And I think it could matter that she supported you and you did this. You got it done. Okay. And I think that she will support you for anything because I know you're supporting her. And I mean, I know her. And so I think that you're in good hands to lean into her or to lean into the universe, like this metaphoric, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be the smartest person in the room. It's okay. These derailers, they're okay. Like I, at one point, admitted that I had no idea how to do this thing called life. And that is actually when the miracles started to happen. It was that I feel so dumb and I'm surrounded by other people looking for the same fucking thing. And I turned to my neighbor and I said, do you believe this guru in front of us? I go, do you believe what this guy is selling us? And the guy next to me, I didn't even know him. He goes, yeah. And I go, you know what? It's the first thing in my life that has made any sense to me. It's not outside. I don't believe that there's anything outside of you. I believe it's an internal thing. I don't think you need to be a better writer. I don't think you need to be anything. I think it's an internal thing that's getting in the way.
Oh, well, I agree. And I think
it's a story. It's a narrative you're telling yourself.
You had an ex-husband who kept you down. I had an ex-boss who daily tried to find a way to belittle me.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're gone.
You bring it home.
Yeah, but the universe took them out.
Yeah.
Like this.
And a listening HR representative. But yes, I don't know how much time we have, but
it's good. We're fine. It doesn't matter.
Real quick on a truly happy note, and because you do know my wife, we're down in Mexico. You know, she threw out her back. You know, in the middle of our, right at the start. You know, it was very, very. On the last night, we danced. She and I met, and then COVID hit. We hadn't ever danced.
That's cool.
And she was gorgeous, and she was free, and she was feeling good. And I got to tell you, you'll love it. I fell in love with her all over again on that dance floor. You know, it was pretty amazing.
That's beautiful.
I just want to share that little moment with you. But I think part of me stopped.
She's in you. She's the wine. The wine is in you. Like the wine is in you. Like use that love and give that. She's loving you. Use that love for yourself. Like that is in you. That's powerful. That love that you're explaining is the key.
Yeah.
When you use that love, nothing like looking at all these derailers and looking at all these things, they're not even humbling when you actually bring the presence of that. Look, that shifted me when you told me that. Like I could feel like in all the other stressors and all the other I can't do it, did they just disappear?
She loves my writing. She wants me to be successful, not for money, but because
She believes in you.
she believes in me. She's off, she's doing a house showing right now, and she's like, and hopefully you have time this afternoon to write, to sit down, to edit, to work on, I'm working on a new screenplay. I started it, and she watched me sit there on the couch for 2 days and just laughing and cranking stuff out. And she's like, you haven't touched it in a couple weeks.
No, what are the three most important things that you need to do after this conversation? I don't know that it's right a new thing. What are the three most important things that you need to do? I'm going to send you the trailer thing, but what are the three most important things that you need to do to move yourself a tiny bit forward?
I need to make a decision as to what one of my projects I need to get behind. I can't do 10% here, 10% here, 10% here. I need to pick the one and go all in.
That's one. Two more things. That's really good. I'm giving you a huge hug. Can you feel it? I mean, can you feel my sincerity?
Yes, I do. I'm going to look into some writers groups. They meet all the time around here. This is Denver. They're all over the place. And I'll have to go to a couple different ones to find
Vet them.
One that I feel good about. Now that COVID's over, people can actually be in the same room again, And that's the other thing, where do you meet agents? Well, you meet them at writers' conferences. Well, we haven't had any.
Don't get there yet. Because you can do online publishing and stuff like that. So you got pick one, writers group, and what else? One more thing. What's the one thing? Oh, go ahead.
No. I'm thinking about the competing commitments and how to make sure that this is a higher priority.
You know how to do that?
No, not yet. Obviously, I don't. I haven't. I thought I did.
I can tell you. I have this reverse engineered. So I went to study with the Swami, and then I went to Harvard and did all that stuff and learned the neuroscience and reverse engineered it, right? But you know what? All the Harvard stuff didn't help me. It helped me reverse engineer it. It helped me explain it. But you know what helped me the most? Okay, this is going to make me cry. My shit fell apart in India. Everybody's did, because you were there on a pilgrimage. My guru knew my shit fell apart. He knew exactly what went down. He knew the whole thing. The next day, I thought I was going to kind of be outed. Does this make sense? I don't know, I was going to be, and there were a couple people kicked off the group or off the tour at that point in time. My guru waited for me. He got off the bus. He waited for me. He took my hand. It was a day that this whole program was going to be filmed about his life in India. And I was the disciple next to him. Everybody wanted to be that. I thought I was going to be kicked out. He took my hand and showed me love and acceptance. At that minute, it changed my life forever. Here's what happened. The love and acceptance made every pain disappear. It made every I can't just evaporate like a fog in the sun. So whenever you get into that place, I want you to go to the love that she has for you. And I want you to feel it. Not here. Yeah. Down there in your gut and in your heart. Because that will always, the Beatles had that shit right. Love is all you need. And I'm not saying that lightly. When you go to that, it evaporates everything. And I will let you know, I always ask if you believe in God or the universe, because when you start to think about God or the universe or love, it's all the same thing. Okay? There are changes that happen the instant you start to think about it in your brain. It completely wires for a higher level of consciousness. So you're not in that same level of consciousness. Like Albert Einstein said, you have to change the level of consciousness. Like the brain creates problems. Like your ego will create a problem, and you can't solve that problem in the same state of thinking. So when you go to that love or that God or that universe, and people feel God, they can feel a love for God. Some people can feel like a one with God. In the universe, if you can feel that, or her, or your wife, what it is you have to feel and have a reverence for that, like a reverence, like that you even have felt this in this lifetime. And it's like a gratitude. It's like this deep, you allow a reverence to build in your belly, and that will wipe out all of the, I'm not worthy, I'm the smartest person in the room, all of those derailers. It doesn't matter what they are. I'll send you the list, but they will all just go away. That's the secret of those competing commitments. You immediately jump to that. And every time you do it, you jump to that, and it rewires your brain to a higher level. And that level is extremely adaptive, and it's resourceful, and it's more of a bliss state where you don't feel like that pain when you're in an ego state like that. You know what I mean? You're still humbled, but you're making those adaptations, and you're allowed, at that point, things become more an equanimity where you get it done fast. Okay. And so trust me, and like text me. You have my cell phone. So text me if you have any questions on that, because I am here and I want to help you get this accomplished. I don't just want, this is not just for the podcast. I really want to help. Right.
I know you.
I'm sincere. It's like my whole purpose. It's my purpose. It's the love that changes it.
I really like that, because that is something I can focus. I can see. I can feel it.
Yes. And when you feel it, that changed you. All of the derailers went away. You didn't have to be the smartest person in the room. And in fact, when you're with Lisa, you're not that. So like when you're with your friends at work, bring that reverence for her, and your perspective will change. It's almost like you take blue glasses off and you put a pink glass on or something. Your whole perspective changes. Bring that reverence, and you can use that you can use that when somebody cuts you off, like when you're driving or at the grocery store or something. You can use that, because that is, I mean, she's not God for you, but that God is equal to love. Okay. She is equal to love. And what I'm getting at is it's the love. It's that feeling of love that rewires the brain instantly and the fastest. Like when I got off of that bus and my guru took my hand, I didn't even see all the other people who wanted to be the person that I was. But every day after that, he came to me. He sat with me on the bus. He worked with me, and he told me that I was the only person in his entire life he worked with like that. And everybody else knew it because you could see it. Like he literally loved me, and I felt it, and that changed, and it made me be able to do what I'm doing now.
You're right. You're right 100%. I've been given a gift.
Yes.
And I need to use that gift and expand it and grow it.
You have to use love to do it.
In other facets of my life, you walk into the break room at work and people are bickering at something just so juvenile, so stupid.
Throw a one-page piece of paper down and say, read this. Tell me if you like it.
Yeah.
You have people all over the place that can give you and say, you know what? I don't want you to be nice to me.
Yeah.
Cut it up. And then you can take the feedback. You're a strong, able man, right? You're solid. You can take the feedback and go, yes, no, but at least it gives you that perspective. And you do, because that's your audience. That's who's going to buy. Use the love.
Quick story. When I was out, my last years on active duty, I was out at Vandenberg Air Force Base. So I drove 4 hours to the Orange County Writers Conference. This is back in 2010.
Uh-huh.
And I paid money for 2 published authors to read examples of my work, and then you get 10 minutes to sit down and they tell you what they think, just like we're talking about. The first one, she couldn't make it, family emergency, we've swapped in this other person. The woman knew nothing of the genre, all she had was the intro. If you read a Clive Cussler novel, they always start in the past with some lost treasure.
Okay.
Or how the treasure got lost, because our heroes got to find it in the present. And she just couldn't get her head wrapped around, well, would your hero have these skills to fight these guys? How would I know that? And she just didn't get it at all. And then I go to the next guy who had written some mysteries and ghost written for Ice-T, of all people, from his CSI show or whatever show he was on. And the first words out of his mouth are, dude, why don't you have an agent yet? Wow. Doesn't get me. Totally what I wanted to hear. On the 4-hour drive home at the end of the conference, who do you think was in my head the entire time?
Yeah.
The woman.
Oh, really?
And I went home and I sat down and went, why didn't she get it?
No, you have to rewire that. You have to rewire that. Remember, you're worthy. Okay, we got to go back to the worthy.
I chopped 4 pages out of my introductory chapter. I completely got rid of some stuff. I changed some stuff to make it so that someone like her would get it.
Well, good. Okay, but at the same time, you're worthy. There's a competing commitment there. Okay?
Right.
There's a competing commitment there.
That I'm not a crap writer, that I am of quality, but there's still more work to be done.
Yeah. You know, when I first started doing like what I'm doing, I didn't know if I was going to be any good at it, right? And I was like, I don't know. And then people liked it and they kept telling me how much it changed their lives. It changed their lives. And I'm like, oh my God, like I am not changing their lives. They're doing it. I can't even change my teenagers. Okay, like I can't change them. Okay.
No.
Okay, but my point is, it's good. Like it's good. Like you are worthy. There's a competing commitment. You don't want to get to they're not worthy. So, I want to extend this. I would love to do even another session with you if you want. Even like next week, anytime you want. Like you let me know. Just you have my cell phone, so text me, and we can set up another one. Because I would like to know, like in a week, like what you've done, like what you're committed to doing. So the 3 things. Tell me the 3 things that you're committed to already today, when she's doing her things.
We already talked. My brain's going everywhere.
Nope. Right now, it says 1. 3 things that you could move forward.
Okay. What did we say?
You can think of it just
one. Focus on one project.
Yes. Okay.
Pick the one project.
Number 2.
Search out for groups.
Okay. And vet them.
And vet groups.
3.
Did we get to 3? I'm sorry. I'm trying to. The love.
Yeah.
Take the love and use that.
Yes, that's it. Score. Give me 5, bro. Yes, use the love for your derailers.
And you're going to send me that.
I'm going to send you that. And you know what? Like even this lady, this story that you just told me about, there was a derailer there. The derailer was you weren't good enough.
But as a writer, this is something you have to understand. You're never 100% satisfied with it.
I know. Okay, but the thing is, you're good enough. It's different. It's different.
Yes.
It's different.
I like that.
I love you, dude.
I loved you too.
This is awesome.
Yes,
this was awesome. This was awesome. Oh, yay. It was awesome. Yeah? Did you, how, was it good? What was a takeaway for you? How do you feel like after this?
I feel good. I feel empowered.
Do you?
Yes, I do. We got 3 things. I'm a guy, lists. Lisa taught me how to use lists.
Good.
I used to always keep it up here until there was too much stuff, and I'd get forgetful, and
You feel freer? Like a little lighter?
Yeah. I feel that this is attainable.
Good.
I'm a guy who needs a way. I need a map. I need.
Yeah.
There are people who will take their phone, punch in an address, and go wherever it is in a place they've never been. It says go left. It says go right. And that's as far as they need. I pull up a map. I pull up the satellite view. I want to know that it's 3 lefts past the target on the corner of whatever intersect. I want the visual picture before I even get in the car.
Yeah, that's good. So was this worthwhile use of your time today?
Yes, of course. Oh, of course it was. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm really grateful that we had a chance to do this. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for being my first podcast. Yeah. That's awesome.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
It's going to get easier for you too. you have show now? You use a very freeform style.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasters, and many times they have show notes, as they call them. So
Yeah, no.
you,
You're going to
you
lead
won't
this.
you won't know the person who's calling in,
Right.
and you literally are going to have to spend time dissect. What is it you want to talk about? What is it that
Yeah. And I
then
do it
do
all day
your
long.
thing,
I
do
do it
your
all day
thing?
long. Yeah.
Okay.
When I do coaching, I do it with executives, moms. I do it with people who are like lacrosse coaches and they want to get their first job. I mean, I do it with all kinds of people.
But there's
And
no planning prior.
I
There's no
let
need
them
to.
decide where they want to go. This is
Okay.
where I am and this is where I want to go. And we need to get you some clarity. And you got some clarity. And we need to get you some action steps. And what that does is it's big for neuroscience because it's giving you that dopamine hit. It's giving you like the clarity relaxes you.
Very much relaxed. That's a great observation, because I'm not upset. I'm not nervous. I'm not fired up.
Look at your body. You're
I'm
really
relaxed.
relaxed. Yeah, the clarity relaxes you, but yeah, having a list is like that excitement, like that dopamine. And when you feel like it's attainable, you're on it, right? And also just to know that there are competing commitments. And by the way, every freaking human being has that. You're not, so don't think that you're anything special. Like, because you're not. It's called the human dilemma. If you're a human, you have that. Okay. And so sorry, but it's
Use that as your tag. You're not special.
you're not special.
Okay.
And you also
Well,
have that mantra, fuck that. Okay. If you want that.
so I years ago I dated a film school professor, and she was very astro projection, free thinking, all about feelings, all this. And for my birthday, I guess she knew one of the top 10. The woman had a career for 35 years as an astrologer. Now, to me, that's not science.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
studied space and the planets and astromechanics.
It's a different kind of science. Yeah. A hard
But
science. Yeah.
have an open mind. Have an open mind. So she gave my exact birth date, the whole bit. She did my star charts, and we met. And the first words out of her mouth were, "Jeff, you're an alien." And I just, without even flipping, I just went, "I knew it," like that. And she then spent the next, because she had never had a client in her 35 years that was born with 7 planets in alignment at the
Wow.
time of birth. Now, the moon and the sun count. So with Earth, that's not so special. But apparently, Pluto, Jupiter,
You're trying to prove that you're special. You're not. Sorry, not with competing commitments anyway, because we all
right.
do that.
But she then spent the next hour and a half telling me about myself. I hardly said a word, and she was dead on.
Yeah, it's really wild. It's pretty cool. I
It,
enjoy that.
it was so enlightening.
Yeah.
But she talks about you've always had trouble making friends in that you're always seen as the outsider. Absolutely.
But
My Marine Corps career, my work career, I'm not the guy who gets called to go golf or called
that's
because
a
we need
derailleur.
another.
That's a derailleur. And how are you going to overcome derailleurs?
Right. Well,
How?
we're going to work on it.
No,
We're
we're
going
going
to
to
use
do
love. We're
love.
going to use
Love.
love, and we're going to.
Love.
And
If you can, okay, what happens in your brain when you bring that reverence, that love? Here's what I'm going to tell you what happens in your brain. When you bring a reverence for Lisa or that felt love that you can feel, your brain is now emitting, it's aligned, like all the circuits for love are firing. The people in front of you, their mirror neurons are going to connect to yours. And so they're going to feel love. They're going to feel acceptance. They're going to feel, and that's your bridge. Remember I said we needed to make a bridge? That's your bridge. So that love builds the bridge. Trust me on that. Because you can feel it in my sincerity when I'm talking to you, right? And it's that same thing. It's like I understand how it feels to love myself, and I understand how it feels not to love myself. And one is productive, and one is self-sabotaging. Whether it's in front of people or in my work, the whole freaking thing. Everything in my brain is either aligned towards moving forward or not moving forward.
that's such a great insight, because I'm thinking about, here I am, a director, I'm leading the critique group at the Writers Club, or or whatever the event was. And I'm there to give back. I mean, I said, I'm going to take over as director because I want to pay forward and I want to give back. And I'm mentoring people and I'm guiding them. And then at some point, I started getting bitter. And I'm like, they're not listening, they're not getting better. And what's in it for me? I'm wasting my time. And I think you hit something there. I wasn't loving it.
They were feeling that too.
And I bet that's
Well,
true
the mirror
too.
neurons connect. Also, no thought that you have is not joined with somebody else. So when you have a thought, nobody knows this, okay? The Swamis know it, and you know it, the neuroscientists both know it. But every thought that you have is received. There's an energy to it. And it's science. It's science, okay? Wherever you focus your attention, your energy goes. And you know, like I have gone into meetings, listen to this, when I had an advertising agency, I was a single person in Denver, right? And I went up against the San Francisco ad agency and I won because I knew my energy was going to project. And I actually had no campaign. I had no campaign. I was reading it. I was reading the audience. And I went in and I was pumping that music, Celebrate, for the 2 weeks prior. I got all new wardrobe. I went in and I won, okay, it was a huge agency. And I won. Okay, in 2 weeks, I made 150 grand. I was like 24. I like took the next 6 months off. I was like, bring it. Okay, but what I did is I had my energy like Celebrate, like it already happened. But they were feeling my energy, and that's what won. And so you like it's that, and now I know why. Okay, because the mirror neurons and the love, and like I was like accepting of everybody, and because I was accepting, they knew I would listen to their ideas and I would integrate them. Where somebody came in like we're the big agency, they weren't going to be integrative of their ideas. Yeah. It's wild, right? It's that love. That's the secret. So take
You're
that.
right.
That's going to help you overcome any derailer. Any derailer.
I think you're right. I'm hearing you, and I'm believing you, and I am going to take this with me.
Test it. And I want you to do this. Resolve all doubt. So whenever you're in a place of pain and suffering, mentally, physically, emotionally, apply that tool. Every single time you remember to apply it, your brain will record it. Like, well, what did I do last time? Because it worked. Well, what didn't I do last time? Because that didn't work. And it will record it, and it will, because it's smarter than me. Your brain is always going to be smarter than my brain. Okay, because your brain thinks it's smarter than everybody. Everybody's does. Again, not you're normal. Like, that's just a human. My brain thinks that I've been through all these different life experiences, and you could not possibly understand my experiences, so that probably won't work. So you have to do the litmus test. And your brain, after it goes through this, that, and resolves all doubt, it will then just automatically bring that to every situation. Whenever you're starting to feel worried, it brings love, and it just dissipates. And then you move forward faster and faster and faster. But the hard thing is for you, not hard thing, but you have to remember to do it. You have to remember to do it. Okay? And all you have to do is text me and I'll remind you. I'll just send you a heart. That's the answer. Okay.
All right. You need to watch this. That's, maybe not today, but tomorrow, and just watch yourself. You're great at this.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Tell me what you like. Give me feedback. What do you mean?
You look great. Okay. And visuals are a part of it. The setting is good. It's not overly dramatic behind you. It's just far enough that it's out of focus so that the focus is on you. Okay? So I see this whole thing. I've only seen you, and I can see your eyes very clearly. Your energy is great. You listen. You don't, like cut me off because you think you know what I'm going to say or where I'm going. You always let me finish. Then you paused. You had the processing. Then you gave just great insight and feedback. And I think that worked really well. I think you're going to see that.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I'm so happy. Thank you for saying that. This is my first one that's visual like this.
And if anything, I would just try maybe, we get excited and you and I know each other really well. So need to somehow, when you have someone else who doesn't know your style, and you're speaking very fast because you're into this, you believe in this, some kind of a thing that goes, okay, I'm coming up on almost 2 minutes. I need to build in a pause so that they could, because you talk fast, and some people, and you don't want to watch them that moment when they've stopped listening. You don't want that. So I would just maybe as a critique build in something that,
Okay.
hey,
Okay. Good
because
good input.
you have so much information, you have so much experience and guidance to offer. A, the person has to be receptive, but B, you can't overwhelm them with it. It's too much to process. I mean,
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
see if you,
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
Oh yes, I got it. I got it.
I mean, it's so much, and I don't want to forget all this great information. And if you know, and that's why I was trying to just quick notes and look up and quick
Oh, okay,
notes.
okay, I got it. Okay, good. That's really good feedback.
So, and you're dealing with educated people, but even then, they're going to need time
To process.
like I said, I get the script. Oh, that's bullshit. They don't know what anything. They don't get it. They got a point. Wow, actually, I should do that. It takes my process for criticism a good couple of tries before I'm then willing to sit down with my script, pull up the critique, and go, okay, let's look at that. You know, and then now here's my brain, not my gut, rethinking how can I do that scene in a different way that makes sense with what this person is suggesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's real easy.
I'll give
And
people
sometimes,
more time to digest and ask
yeah,
questions. Yeah, okay. I
yeah.
like that. I like that. Then thank you. I appreciate because I want this to be successful.
And I've known you now for over a year, 2 years, almost 2 years, right? When
Yeah.
you first came over to the old townhouse,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, you have such energy, especially when you get excited. And like, you know, you're on the phone with Lisa and the phone's like this, and you're talking, I'm just walking through the room, but you're talking so fast. I'm just like, like, God, I can't understand. What is she saying? And Lisa's like, I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
But um, thank you for everything and being such a great friend to Lisa. You know, she's had, you know, it's been rough. It was a real punch in the crotch the way she got fired, and she's still. We both know she's going to be great at real estate. It's just such a bad time here in Denver.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's just
Yeah.
you know, it's like me trying to sell a zombie movie. Every age, oh, zombies are so last decade, you know, kind of thing. You know, I'm
You have
like,
to
well,
text me when you figure out what your one thing is. I want to know. That's your homework. You got to text me what your one focus. Okay?
I know.
Focus. Text me that. I
I
can't
will.
wait to hear.
I'm going to take some time. I'm not just going to run downstairs, pull up all my work, and go, yeah, that one.
Take a
I'm going to
walk.
really.
Take a
I'm,
walk.
oh, by the way, you know that's the classic when you're dealing, you know, at writers. Well, how do you deal with writer's block? You know, and it's just like, get up, get out of the house, go to the gym. I always say go to the gym and the writers. That's one of the old jokes. How do you know you're at a writers conference? Because the gym's empty and the bar is full.
That's funny.
Writers don't use the gym like they should.
Yeah.
Get the blood pumping, get the neurons firing, get away, and suddenly you're doing your third bench press or whatever machine you like, and all of a sudden, bing! Oh, that's how I'm going to get out my character out of this situation.
Yeah.
You know, but sitting there just staring at the screen, staring at your laptop is
Doesn't work.
never going to get you through it.
Yeah. So take a
People don't
walk.
realize
Maybe
that.
you'll get some insight after this. Take a walk.
Yeah, go talk to people.
Yeah.
Go meet somebody.
Hmm.
You know, I'm in the Pentagon listening to a Navy captain give a brief on a type of communications equipment they want to buy, and he's got a gap in his teeth and he lisps, and I'm like, I'm right. Oh my God, I so need to create a character like this guy speaks, because how often do you meet somebody like that?
Yeah. It's cool.
So in the Pentagon, you have to get there early in the morning because of traffic in D.C. So I'm leaving at 5:30 in the morning. I'm at the Pentagon by 7:30. The brief isn't until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm sitting in the cafeteria for hours, right?
Yeah.
My brief is the third of three. So I have to be in the room so I can have a place to sit for all, and I'm listening to briefs that mean nothing. It's like, has nothing to do with anything that my people are doing.
Yeah.
So I have my little official government notebook and I'm working on a story. I'm writing a novel,
Publish
right?
those in magazines. You
And
get
then,
your name out there.
and then half the time we run out of time, so the third brief is canceled. So I spent all day at the Pentagon for nothing, but I have my green book. I feel I was productive. This has been going on for about 2 months, and I'm walking out of the room, and the Marine general stops me, 2-star general. He goes, Link, my call sign Link. He's like, Link, I've been watching you. You take a lot of notes. And with a death grip on my closed book, I just go, yes, General, I do. And walked right out. I was living in fear
I love it.
that he's going to like open it up and write, he hit the accelerator and plowed through the plate glass window of the bank. It's
He
like,
probably would have just
no.
laughed. He probably would have just laughed. So, well,
I don't
that's
know.
awesome. You have a good day. Go get a walk and hang out and do your thing. I look forward to hear. You have to text me on what your focus is.
All right. You
Okay.
take care. Love
Okay.
you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.